Okay, I'd like to call this meeting in order. Meeting of the Buxton Planning Board for Monday, January 27th. The first item on the agenda is a Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next item on the agenda is a public hearing for an application for conditional use for the group of Intersectional International Church at 1301 Long Plains Road, map 6, lot 46. Do I have a motion to open the public hearing?
I'll make a motion to open the public hearing.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion by Scott and a second by Craig to open the public hearing. Discussion? All those in favor? Before with one absent. Okay, the applicant. Can you come up to the podium and just briefly give us a synopsis of what we've been talking about for the last couple of meetings?
Good
evening.
Good evening. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Michael Navarro. I represent the applicant for the change of use for 1301 Long Plains Road. I represent the applicant in this proceeding as well as in the transfer of the real estate. It's my pleasure to stand here before all of you and go through this process and review and work them through the planning board process. So the church is the group of Intercession International Church. Brother Impila and Archilon, who are here as well this evening. Impila is the pastor of this church. It's currently about 150 members with an average weekly attendance of 125. They currently lease space in Portland, and that space is, as they have grown and become more established, they were excited for this opportunity to purchase this property and have a home base for their congregation.
Okay. Questions from the board? Heath?
No, I have no questions at this time.
I can add a little more general information in that their services are weekly, currently held on Saturday afternoons, and essentially that is their use for this space. There's no auxiliary usages like childcare or a day school or anything like that. It is simply for a place for them, the congregation, to gather for their weekly services, with one or two, potentially three staff members with some periodic use during the week for administrative and preparation for their service.
Okay. Heath, you all set?
All set.
Scott?
I'm all set. Thank you for the parking diagram. There are a couple that I don't see are going to work in the back, just the way the angles are, but you still have plenty of parking, so thank you.
Thank you.
Craig?
Thank you for the letter from ML Environmental. That was very helpful. And the only thing that I saw that was missing on the plan is sign locations right out front.
Okay.
No,
Right.
do
We're
not
talking about
enter
the no
one
enter
way.
sign. Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
do not enter in one way. Otherwise, it looks good, and I'm all set, Jerry.
Okay.
Yep. And we did discuss that, and as far as how to memorialize that in this proceeding, they're in complete understanding of the necessity for that for safety for those on Long Plains Road and for those coming in and out of this property. So there's no question for the overall safety that those signs will be installed and per the board's request as the DOT signs. We've been doing some research and sourcing those signs. They're pretty easy to get, but noting that they are legit
Right.
safety signs. Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
I'm all set,
Any other
Jerry.
questions from the board? Town staff have any questions or comments at the moment? Okay. I'll take comments from abutters. And Mr. Navarro, if you could just hover closely in case you can answer some
Yep.
questions. Any of the butters like to speak?
Good evening. My name is Keith Gorham. I live straight across the street from where the church is going to be built,
Okay.
at 1294. My only concern, where he says their congregation is like 125 people, how many parking spaces do they have? They're talking 115 to 120 cars on a Saturday afternoon.
Part of the conditions of approval was that they had to show 58 total parking spaces on their plan.
Okay, so
On the
where's the
assumption that not every single person will be driving one car. And the applicant has agreed that if they exceed those 57 spaces, that they will either provide a shuttle bus or park elsewhere and get to the church.
Okay.
So they're limited to 57 spaces.
Okay.
And
And
if
the
that
overflow is not going to be able to go on the side of the...
There's no parking on Long Plains Road.
No.
There's no parking in abutting
That's
properties.
dangerous road.
Yep,
And I actually want to say welcome.
yep.
All right, yeah.
Any
that's
other
my
additional
only
comments? Oh, any additional comments?
No,
No,
my only
okay.
concern was the parking, because we had like a little midget wrestling show over there during
Yep.
the summer,
Yep,
and there was more cars on my parking, on my side of the road and up and down, Long Plains than there actually was able to park inside.
one of the conditions of approval is that there's absolutely no parking on Long Plains Road whatsoever, and the applicant has agreed to that.
All right.
So if it becomes an issue, it'll become a code enforcement issue
just a safety
or a public safety issue.
For sure, yeah.
Okay? Thank you.
Yeah, it's just a concern.
Yep, no, that's fine.
Thank you.
Can I just make
Sure.
one clarifying statement there, as far as let me pull up the right document. The parking plan, I think the number of 50-something was the bare minimum.
It was the minimum.
Yes.
But you're
our
showing
plan shows
67.
67, including 3 handicap spots. And yes, to reiterate, it is very clearly understood that there will be no parking on Long Plains Road for multiple reasons. Kindness to our neighbors, as well as just safety, absolutely.
Okay. Any other additional butters, please?
I'm not a butter, but I live at 1203 Long
Well,
Plains Road.
hang on a sec. Are there any additional butters?
Yeah, I have.
Okay, the process is I have to do a butters first, and then I can open up to the general public?
Okay, I just I had a question about the traffic flow as well.
Yep, okay. But just procedurally why I have to go to a butters.
Okay.
Can you please go to the podium and state your name? We'll have plenty of time for your comments, okay?
My name is Dave Marsh.
Yep.
1307 Long Plains Road.
Okay,
I have the driveway right next to your place. I surround you by 3/4 of the place. I've dealt with the bar for 25 years. I also helped that bar get the permit to open up.
okay.
And I've had nothing but problems with people parking in my driveway. Granted, you're not a bar. I get that. But I've had a lot of issues over 25 years and certainly didn't get no help from the town. All the stuff I had to do was all on me. Right up until the last moment. So, what guarantee they're not gonna park on the road when they're gonna park in my driveway? Not saying you will,
Can we get an
but it has
answer?
happened many times. I've been blocked, I've been sworn at, you name it. So,
Can we get an answer from, if it becomes an issue, then there will be some type of enforcement from the town?
There will be some type of enforcement. If they don't comply with the conditions that we set upon them, we can revoke their permit to be there. So I would ask that you call the code office and report it, or the police department if it's off hours, because they will always let me know. I don't know if they will come out and tell people not to park there in your driveway, but there will be a record of it, and we will.
now, like I said, I've been through that for many years, so that never worked out.
Did you
Yeah.
call the, well, this.
Oh, yeah, I called the cops. Yeah,
but-
it wasn't very much help.
But this is a new application
I
that
get that.
we're
That's why I'm
putting
saying it up
conditions
now.
on.
Yeah.
And as the code enforcement officer said, if this becomes an issue, then we can revoke their conditional use.
Do you think it's that easy to revoke a permit once you give a church a license? I don't think so. They're under
We're
umbrella
not giving
clause.
them a license, we're giving them approval to do what they want to do on the property.
Right, but once it
Right.
becomes a church, they have a whole nother guideline, so once
They're
that
already,
permit's
they're
installed-
already a church now,
I get that.
Okay.
They're not in our town yet.
okay? All right, okay.
It's
Any
federal
other
law.
comments?
You can look it up. You don't have much pull on anything once you give a church a permit to operate.
Okay,
Look it up. It's right there on your phone, you can pull it up.
okay,
Just being sane.
all right. Any other comments?
I heard that you can't find the well. I saw that in the paperwork. Is that true?
Us,
It's in the permit.
It was your paperwork that I found online, in the permit application, it says well has not been found.
Is that so? Got that paperwork?
The well's right in the parking lot. As you pull in on the
I
right.
know that. Why was it in the permit?
Yeah, why wasn't it in the permit? It said right
the
on the
permit for what?
It's in the report, it's on our website.
It's your website.
So, the well's in the parking lot, as you pull it on the right-hand side.
Well, that's what I thought it was, but for
Yeah.
the same reason it was circled on your paperwork that they couldn't find the well in the beginning. So I didn't know if that was a problem or not.
No, I don't think so.
So the other question I got too is, I'm not against your church, but I do have a problem with not bringing any tax revenue to the town. All our businesses, we pay taxes. I know they're tax exempt, that's my point. So what are we getting out of this with the church coming in, our resources being taken up? Maybe police, maybe traffic problem. There's no benefit to the town. You tax me, you tax everybody in here for their homes, dog houses, businesses. We got a lot of churches in town.
Yep.
Is it necessary for another one? Just
As long
asking.
as it meet the conditions of the ordinance. We have
I
no
understand
choice
that, but I'm
to-
just making a point so you can understand that.
Well, at least they don't send kids to school.
What's that?
They don't send kids to the school,
Yeah?
right?
So you're just gonna give them a piece of real estate with no taxes?
I
nothing
can't
to
answer
it?
your question for that,
Yeah, I
okay?
bet. Yeah.
Any
I
other
understand.
comments?
I just reading right off the federal law, that's all.
Okay. Yep,
No.
great.
Seems like you guys pretty much get your mind made up, huh? We'll see.
Okay, thank you. Okay, any other butters? Would you like to speak? I'll take comments from the general public.
Yeah, my name is Ron Tardif, and I live at 1203 Long Plains Road. And I have a concern about the control of the traffic. People coming in and out of the church service. I've come out of my son-in-law's driveway many a times, and there's a curve that comes right off the 22 from Bonnie Eagle coming around. The car just whizzed through there, and are they gonna provide with some kind of signage or a traffic guide out there to kind of control the flow of traffic in and out of the service, or what?
I don't think they proposed one.
Until an accident happens, someone gets killed.
I think we don't require that for any of the churches in
Okay.
town. Okay. If you look at the parking plan, they're only coming in on the right-hand side of the building and they're exiting on the left-hand side of the building.
Right.
So it's a circle around the building. That's what they propose.
Try coming out of my son-in-law's driveway when cars are coming from Buxton, Bonnie Eagle, towards 202. I mean, it's crazy. There's no enforcement of the traffic laws to begin with, in the town of Buxton. And I think they should have somebody there to control the flow of traffic to avoid an accident,
Okay, thank you.
okay?
Yep.
And I think my son-in-law mentioned the thing about the well. It's under general property information. It says setback from well to tank and field, unknown. We did not locate the well.
They know where the septic system is. We know where the well is. So that was the evaluator for the septic system.
Why is it in the report?
The septic guy couldn't find the well.
They did it November 7th, it wasn't covered with snow.
I can't speak for them. That's their report.
Okay.
So if the septic guy can't find the well, how do we know?
Excuse me, if you're gonna make comments, you have to come to the podium. And state your name.
Danielle Bradbury, and my parents live at 1307.
Okay.
If the septic guy couldn't find the well, how do we know for sure that's where it is and it's not on their property?
I think we're talking semantics here. We know where the well is. We know where the septic
Okay,
is.
well then it should be in your report on public information if we're having a meeting about it.
It's not our report. It's the information that the
Okay,
applicant
no
provided.
offense, but it should probably be on the report if we're having a meeting about it, because on paper, it looks like you don't have the well found. Which to me isn't really, I don't see how you can give a permit if we don't have it on paper that that's where the well officially is.
Would you like to add the well to this parking plan here on this diagram, Mr. Navarro?
So I just want to make something very clear. The report that was in is a report by Advanced Leach Fields, who I'm sure you all know who they are as far as their ability to inspect septic systems. They were hired during the due diligence period of the real estate transaction. So yes, it is their report. It's not, it's part of our, the applicant's package because we provided it to say, look, the septic system is in good working order. Now, clearly it's noted that they couldn't find the well at that time. And if it needs to be, that report needs to be revised by that inspector because we do know where the well is. It's clearly right there. And so I'm not sure in that moment, or even if it was an error, in a typo even, that he couldn't find, that this person couldn't find the well. So if that report needs to be revised, happy to do that. But again, it was an Advanced Leach Field report solely to open up the tanks. They dug out the access tank for the tanks, looked at both tanks in series. They went to the leach field, dug a test pit as well to ensure that the existing septic system was in good working order. That was a concern of mine for my client because they're about to buy a property that was used as a restaurant, and we all know that a restaurant uses a septic system very differently with different, potential for fats and oils to clog up a system like that. So that was the purpose of that report. It's part of the application as information, but it wasn't part of our application as nobody knows where the well is at. So just to add that clarity. And if the board would like that report to be revised, I'm sure I could get that, but we do know where the well is, and we saw it at the site visit as well.
How does the board feel?
I mean, I find if he wants to add it, add it.
Yeah, go add it if you like.
Shows it right here.
It does. Yep. Okay, I think we're all set. Any other comments from the public?
How you doing? Tom Wachowski, nice to be here. I appreciate you guys. I was forwarded this application from a family friend who asked me to take a look at it and see if I could find anything that stuck out to me. I got a couple things to run by you guys which seem minor compared to anything else that was brought up already. The first one is you guys have an applicant here for conditional use permit for a church. I just want to read the definition of church real quick if that's okay, so we'll all be on the same page. Building a structure designed and used primarily for conducting organized religious services regardless of religious denomination. The term church includes customary accessories facilities located within the principal building such as meeting rooms, assembly space, administrative offices, classrooms for religious education, and living quarters for the clergy. The last part of that is something I wanted to touch on first. It is, from what I understand, an old bar, not quite set up for living quarters. So I don't know if that's something you guys want to talk with the applicant about and figure out what their desire is regarding living quarters on site. Your definition, your zoning ordinance does allow for living quarters for clergy. It's a very simple thing to clear up with the applicant if they have no intentions of having living quarters on site for clergy. Toss it in your conditions of approval and you're all good to go there. Best case scenario, they have zero intention and they put that in conditions of approval. Worst case scenario, you guys decide that it's not important to do that and the day after the applicant gets his approval or their approval, they have 20 people living in a basement of an old bar, which is, it seems to be allowed from your ordinance. So that's the first thing. Well, the second thing was what the applicant planned on doing with the space, and again, I apologize for not being at any other meetings. This is kind of a last-minute thing. They are applying for a conditional use permit for a church. Certain things are allowed under that definition, certain things are not allowed under that definition. Things that are allowed are weddings, Sunday schools, baptism, worship nights, traditional church activities. Stuff that doesn't seem to be allowed would be things like holding a reception after a wedding is not in the definition. Community suppers, stuff like that, birthday parties, renting the hall out for graduation, renting the church out for graduation parties or wedding parties. You guys actually have a separate use in your use table as well as a definition for those type of events. I believe it falls under function hall, reception hall, and banquet hall. That definition is a room or building for the purpose of hosting a party, banquet, wedding, or other reception or other social event. So this one's a little, it's really just, it's hard to interpret or hard to understand exactly what they want to do with it. So it might be something that you discuss with their process for you, just to figure out what their intentions are. And again, if I've missed it because I haven't been here, I apologize. So that was, and it may seem counterintuitive to look at it as a function hall, reception hall, or banquet hall use on the use table, but if they plan on renting it out for any sort of purpose, it would more closely align with that use than a traditional church use, because it seems that those type of events wouldn't be allowed under your church definition. You guys have a fantastic code enforcement officer, so they'll probably steer you in the right direction as well. Hours of operation I didn't see on there. Traditionally, that's on there. Maybe I just missed it. Again, I apologize, but I didn't see hours of operation on there. And then I had traffic survey listed as well, but it seems like everybody's touched on that enough, so I'm not going to dwell on those things. So those are the two things I had was the living quarters part for clergy, and kind of tightening that up and making sure that it's not on some runaway train there, and getting something in the conditions of approval that specify how many people are allowed to live on site, if you decide to allow people to live on site. And then the second being what their intended purpose is. And again, I apologize for if they've already stated it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Mr. Varro, could you comment on those?
Yeah, of course, no problem. So as far as the definition of a church goes, thank you for reading that. I don't have that right in front of me, and I don't know as far as to address the living quarters part of it. First of all, that is not their intention. Second of all, I think just by reading the definition of church, I don't know if this board could restrict the use of this church per that definition you read. So to say that they would conditionally approve this, the definition, right? Yeah. So to say that they would conditionally approve this, except for this one use of this definition, seems to me that would be beyond the bounds of this planning board to be able to do, per the reason of it is a church, and those are the definitions. That said, they have zero intention of using this for living quarters. In fact, Mr. Impila and I know each other because I helped him buy his first home as his family home in Westbrook. The church, the purpose of this use is to have a congregational home, to have their services, to not depend on the lease of another church or another building to allow them to congregate. So this opportunity came up, and that is really the purpose. As far as other uses go, again, great for the definitions. That other use as a congregation hall or for functions, right? For functions, as you mentioned. Yeah. Yes, of course, that's a completely different use, and that is not what this application is for. We did discuss it at one point about holding events or renting it out. Absolutely not. It's not their intention, and it's clearly not the use. Yeah. So their intention and their use is for a church. And that's simply it. As far as operating hours, I guarantee you it will be less than that restaurant/bar on the night of whatever wrestling match that might have been. And right now, their services are weekly, Saturday from 3 to about 6:30. And that has been their schedule. Obviously now with their own space, there's wonderful opportunity for other church activities, permitted church activities throughout the week or earlier. So sure, they could grow into this space, but they will use this space as it is classified for as a church and nothing more than that. Not only is a recreational hall a completely separate use, we know very well that the number of people would be greatly limited anyway based on the septic design, which is 8 gallons per day. And so they couldn't even do that anyway, per the codes, as far as having a big recreational type gathering, just based on the septic system alone. So yes, so I hope that answered all the questions as far as their intention, what it is going to, what it's used for, its purpose, and this application, and for that use.
Okay, are you all set for now?
Yeah, like I said, if you guys are all set with the living quarters part, like I said, that's the only really open-ended part that doesn't show up in a lot of other ordinance and definitions in the towns that surround you. So that's, if you guys are comfortable with it, then
Okay,
comfortable.
thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Anybody else from the public like to speak?
I'm Karen Marsh, and I'm 1307. What are they doing with the snow? We have big snowstorm, well, lately we're not, but, I mean, because if you're gonna push it this way, I won't be able to see to get out of my driveway. And I had problems with the bar, with the snow removal.
When you say push it which way? You mean at the
So,
street?
you got the street here, and if they push it like this, I can't see to get out of my driveway.
And you're in which driveway again?
I am right next door to you.
Yeah, so when you're looking at the structure, you're to...
I'm on the right.
Right.
Yep. So what's the plan? I mean, you can't push it back because you're gonna lose parking spaces. You're gonna lose parking spaces if you push it back.
So your driveway's here?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. I'll wait till you're done.
So that's my big concern.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Well, thank you for voicing that concern, and we'll make sure that doesn't happen. I mean, that's just not safe, and
The bar did, so.
I can't speak for them, and yeah, I won't speak for them, I can't speak for them, but I do know my client. I know his heart so well, and you know what? I know for a fact that they want to be good neighbors. They want to be good contributing members of this community. And if a direct neighbor and a butter has a problem with the snow pile right there causing an issue, that will be, well, one, now that we know about it, it shouldn't happen. And if there is a future issue with cars, I'm sorry, Mr. Marsh, for cars, I mean, that's absurd, and I just cannot even imagine this group of people trespassing or having such little respect for somebody else's space and property. It just boggles my mind that would happen. So in these, I'm sorry?
Me too.
Yeah, it does not make sense, and I can promise this is a community that is going to honor the space and their neighbors. I mean, it's just so obvious to me. And please, if there are issues in the future, just takes a phone call, and it could be a. Oh well, I will be happy to introduce you to your new neighbor and have a direct phone call. I mean, have a direct line of communication. And I'll give you my business card. You can call me anytime. Absolutely. This Brother Impila was a client of mine. He's a friend of mine, and now he's a client of mine again. And by all means, you can communicate with me or him. Not a problem, and we'll address whatever concerns you all have. Because say again. Oh yes, Impila, will you come up here, please? Is that okay?
Yes.
Thank you.
But let's keep the conversation.
Yes, I'm sorry. If that's okay.
Not to the audience, but at the
Yes, sir.
podium, please.
Yes. So this is Brother Impila. He is the pastor of this congregation and church. And as I've mentioned 2 years? or so. I had the wonderful honor of helping him and his family and 3 children. Well, they had the 4th one on the way, find their home in Westbrook. So you want to say a few words to the
Yes.
board and to the
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for this opportunity and then to be part of the community in Buxton. First of all, I want to just to remember the church is not to cause any trouble. The church is to bring a peace. We will not be established there to get an issue with the neighbors left or right. We will be there just for prayer. That's why you saw our name start from Group of Intercession International and the church coming next. So I mean, we are a group of the people, those who they will stay only on Saturday to pray God for America, for sickness, for kind of the issues. So we are not there to causing any troubles. For the snow, the same way the restaurant is still using to move out the snow, we will follow the same process. If it will not work, we will come together, staying, talking to get resolve for the problems. So it's easy to contact me. I can give you my phone number if you want. So if you see anything is coming strange for the word we're speaking here, you can call my number and we'll talk so we can have a solution. Okay. So thank you so much.
Thank you. If you would, if possible, could you provide your phone number to the code enforcement office?
Sure.
So if there's issues, you can call code enforcement and she can give you his number and you can contact him directly. Okay? I think we all need to just try to get along. Any other comments from the general public? Anybody else like to speak on this application? Okay.
Has she spoken?
Any comments from town staff?
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Okay, I have a motion by Scott to close the public hearing. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second by Craig to close the public hearing. Discussion. All those in favor? 4, 1 absent. Is the board ready to proceed for conditions of approval?
Yes.
Okay, I will read the standard conditions of approval. Number 1, all elements and features of this application and all representations made by the applicant concerning the development and use of this property which appear in the record of the planning board proceedings are conditions of approval. No change from these conditions of approval is permitted unless an amended plan is first submitted to and approved by the planning board. Number 2, that the applicant be in compliance with all applicable provisions of Article 8.2b and 10. Number 3, that the applicant be in compliance with all applicable provisions of Section 11 if applicable. Number 4, all outstanding bills paid before building permit is issued, which doesn't factor in, and any others. Does the board have any other additional conditions?
Just add the 2 sign locations on the
Yep.
striping plan, parking plan.
Any other additional conditions?
No parking along Long Plains Road?
No parking along Long Plains Road. And what the applicant has stated in the application, those become conditions of the record. So if they say there's no parking, there's not going to be this, there's not going to be that, those are part of the conditions of approval in the application. Excuse me, we're all set for now. Okay. I'll make a motion based on the previous discussions. We find the application be in compliance with all applicable provisions of Article 8.2b, 10, and Section 11 if applicable.
I'll second it.
I have a motion by myself, a second by Scott. Number 2, motion to approve the application with the conditions stated this meeting and from previous meetings.
Second.
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 Second, motion by myself, second by Craig. Discussion. All those in favor? before with one absent. Okay. You're all set.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is Southern Maine Regional Planning Commission. I'll wait. We'll just wait till everybody clears out. Okay. Well, good neighbors. Is he the one that has the garage way in the back?
Oh, he's to the right.
If you face the building? Oh, right on the hill there? Yeah, okay.
He's the house right on the right.
Well, you've got to think they'd much rather have that than a car.
Right. It's quiet 6.5 days a week.
I know.
My second one.
Well, get out of here.
Yeah, I wish. Since
That's how I remember
10
it.
years since I graduated, I'm like, holy shit.
It's not very long, so. Said decision and findings. Should we ask him about voting on the decision and findings?
Oh. Good evening.
Hi, do you want us to go ahead and get started?
Yeah, if you would like, yes. You all set?
I think so.
Okay. And so can you just give us your name and
Yep,
what we're planning on talking about tonight?
yep. My name is Stephanie Carver. I'm the Executive Director of Southern Maine Planning and Development Commission. We're going to give you just a short presentation and kind of explain to you who we are and what we do and how the town is connected to us. You want to go ahead and change the slide?
Sorry.
That's all right.
We gotta get the door closed.
Thank you.
So we call ourselves, for short, SMPDC, for obvious reasons. We were founded in 1964, and we're actually founded as part of state enabling legislation. There are 7 other regional planning organizations in the state of Maine that are similar, but all of us are a little bit different depending on who we serve. We offer programs in land use and smart growth, resource management, economic development, sustainability, and transportation planning. We do a lot of program management. We do a lot of technical assistance. We have 39 cities and towns that we work with in York County and in Oxford County. Buxton is one. And we go from Kittery to Kennebunkport along the coast and then all the way over to Stoneham at the edge of the White Mountains. So this gives you a little bit more of an idea of how we're set up. We have 4 divisions in our organization. We're a nonprofit organization, kind of government, quasi-government organization because we manage both state and federal programs. We have 4 divisions: land use, transportation, sustainability and resilience, and economic development. You can see kind of in these squares who's in what part of our organization. Jamel Torres is with me today, and he is the division director for our land use division. And he works with 2 other folks in our office, and he'll kind of go into more detail about what they do. You can keep going. Another slide. So today, or tonight, we're going to talk a little bit about how we can help you across the different divisions, what we offer. We offer technical assistance for municipal planning issues. We have connections to a lot of resources, grant resources for both planning and for capital projects, and we help our communities set projects up for that. We do a lot of different programs, new initiatives, and we try to be as responsive to our members' needs as possible. So we have evolved over time. Every time something kind of changes on the landscape of grants, we may adapt or take on a new program to help our towns utilize those things. So I'm going to pass it over to Jamel and let him do the last couple slides.
Thanks, Steph. My name is Jamel Torres.
Welcome.
And I am the Director of Land Use or Planning and for SMPDC. So before we get into what we do specifically in the Land Use Division, I just wanted to touch on some of the other divisions in our office. We have a Transportation Division that provides local traffic data analysis, transportation plans, and some transit and local trail planning as well. In economic development, we provide support to local businesses, business grants and loans. We have a very strong brownfields program, which is to clean up contaminated sites for environmental reasons. So we are kind of like a pass-through from the federal government, provide loans and grants for places to clean up their sites so they can then utilize them, much like many of the mills that you see in the Biddeford area. We also provide regional broadband planning for some of our rural districts, rural areas. And then sustainability and resilience. We do some climate action planning for communities who are interested in that. Some energy and emissions support. And we assist with the state of Maine's Community Resilience Partnership. Next slide, please. So Patty reached out to us a month or 3 ago about coming in to talk about some of the land use work that we do in our office. So we really have 3 different sections or things that we do for our member communities, and one of those is support to local planning boards like you all. We have a group of professional planners who review development proposals, much like you reviewed tonight, providing site plan, subdivision, shoreline zoning support, and along with technical memorandums to help understand the issues at hand. That's one of the keystones of our organization. We've been doing that for a very long time. It's a big part of what we do. We also provide regulatory assistance in terms of ordinance language. So your zoning ordinance or land use ordinance, we help communities modify those, update them, and actually write new ones as well. For long-range planning, we work on comprehensive plans, which is generally a 10-year long-range plan for a community. We do open space planning, which is more like conservation, lands and trail planning, and some downtown master plans and revitalization plans as well. And then to the right there, we recently, as a lot of folks know, there's what folks are calling a housing crisis. There's very short supply and very expensive housing, especially for young people trying to move to the area or young professionals. So we provide services in the housing field that's evolving rapidly. We're really developing quite a program for that based on need. So we do housing needs assessments, some regulatory assistance again, such as LD 2003, which I'm sure you all have been through. So we do some public education, just to talk about what certain types of housing types are and how they can benefit a community. And then just general technical assistance. We're here to answer questions from code enforcement or board members or select board members or whoever has a housing question. And I guess for land use, I'll just end with, we provide general land use technical assistance for a variety of things in addition to what's on the screen there. Next slide. So that's all we have. We didn't want to take up a lot of your evening. We just really wanted to introduce ourselves, tell you about the work that we're able to do for you all, our member community. And our contact info is up there. And I don't know if you wanted to say anything else?
No, just thank you all for having us tonight. We appreciate it. And if you have questions, feel free to reach out to either of us. If there are questions about, if you have problems or things problem solving that you need to do, reach out to us. You are a member town, so we are here to answer any questions we can answer and give you support.
Okay. I think one of the issues we have is getting all the different uses that come in to fit into the specific land table. Do you follow what I'm saying? The land table lists all the different uses, but sometimes there's not a conflict, but there's difficulty in getting that use to fit. Where does it fit in that table and what zone it's allowed and not allowed and whatever? Is that something you can interpret or try to interpret for us?
Yes, we
Okay.
could look through your, I'm sorry I jumped in, but we could definitely review your ordinance and provide suggestions.
Okay.
But, you know, it'd probably be worth having a discussion here at a meeting or 2 or 3 just to talk about which uses should be allowed where, because obviously some uses could be controversial.
Right.
So it'd be good we can definitely do a review and provide suggestions, but definitely recommend having that conversation in public.
Is that something that would help you?
I think it would help you. We do have similar uses,
Mhm.
but I think that's why we're working on adding some of those
Yes. Okay,
individualized uses to our table of land uses this year.
okay.
It might be possible for them to look over our proposed zoning amendments
Mhm.
when we finalize them.
So,
Yeah, it'd be a good sounding board for our table 9.6 issue regarding density, what we have in there, the additional land is required, is it per unit? et
Right.
cetera.
now,
Be good to have
what
some-
about, I mean, you're not lawyers, are you? Correct?
No,
No,
But
We're
most
not
lawyers
attorneys.
don't deal with just land use plan.
I know.
That's why I feel
But
they're
do
better
we,
source
do
for
we have to
us.
double dip and send everything to Southern Maine Planning and then turn around and send it to town council to have it verified?
We have to send it to town council and make sure it's not a conflict with state laws or,
Yeah, but isn't that something that you would point out to us?
oh, good.
I was just.
Not to
sorry.
put you on the spot whatsoever,
No, I mean,
I'm just
obviously,
curious.
You're correct, we are
Yeah.
not attorneys.
Yep.
We do have a lot of experience working with other municipalities and with the state, and so we're very familiar with land use laws, and we stay up to date on all of that. I will say you're absolutely right. We aren't attorneys, so, the process, obviously, before you go to town meeting is gonna involve a review with your town attorney. So we make recommendations based on our experience working with other towns and working, with the state on land use law.
Does anybody,
Yeah, I have a few
go ahead,
questions.
go ahead.
We're currently members, correct?
Correct.
What does that entitle us to at this point in time?
So we do charge an hourly fee. It is a reduced fee for our membership. So we can go through, we can provide you with our pricing based on, who's working with you. And we usually work with communities to come up with a scope of work prior to starting anything. And that way you can kind of decide what makes sense for you financially. We do our best to work with our members on that, to try to find, a middle ground so that we can make it as economical as possible for you.
Okay.
So sorry, just on that vein, we can call you and speak to you over the phone instead of having you physically come to the meetings, correct?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Email, phone, we're happy to attend meetings as desired as well.
Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah.
Good question. Comp plan reviews, my understanding, you do those, you help communities out with those. Could you just maybe give a quick outline of what a comp plan review would consist of, as far as maybe some of the steps, the methodology, the time frame, approximate cost?
I'll try and jump in on that one.
Yeah.
And again, we're
Yeah.
high altitude.
Do you mean a review of do you have an existing?
So we have an existing one that was 2003.
Okay. So
And
that's
then
good to know.
And nothing has been done since then.
Without really digging into that plan,
Yep.
it's hard for us to come up with a specific cost, but we can provide all of the services, nuts to bolts, to totally update it and make it consistent with state law.
Right, but what would be a high altitude outline? You would meet with us, you would have X amount of meetings,
Yep.
there would be surveys, just, something like that. What
Generally-
time frame, general time frame, 2 years, 3 years?
I would say if we could do it in a year, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
But it's usually a year and a half to 2 years if we do the full plan. We do take on specific parts of comprehensive planning, including the inventory chapters. That's something that we are very experienced with. But in terms of the entire plan, we could definitely scope out a full comprehensive plan update, including public participation, inventory chapters, regional coordination, and future land use, of course, which would then lead into suggested policy changes at the town level. So we'd be happy to discuss that at the community, if you all were interested in updating your plan.
Well, I think we need to. It's a couple decades old, and there's going to be a lot of changes coming up. Next 10 years, there's a lot of growth going on now, and our services are increasing without any business base to help the citizens out. We have a very small business zone. Majority of it's wet. So, yeah, I think something I would be interested in anyway. I think one of the thoughts as well was on certain applications that might have a lot of, some technical ability stuff of having you folks do some review on some subdivision plans and things like that. Who do you have on staff that would do reviews like that? I saw yours and I looked at your website, but it doesn't really dive down into the worker bees, if you will.
Into what?
The worker bees.
Yes.
I'm kind of looking at them. But
Yep,
yeah.
I would say in our office, we have at least 4 very capable planners who are used to reviewing technical plans, from small subdivisions to large, same with site plans. I personally have been doing it for 12 years, and other planners in our office have been doing it for 5, 6, a few are in their 3rd or 4th year, so a little less experience, but they're still very capable of following the ordinances and providing guidance for you all.
Do you have any in-house engineers for technical stormwater management or DEP requirements and stuff like that?
We do not have any civil engineers or I guess any engineers in our office, but we do know of folks who we could recommend for like third-party peer review.
Okay, so getting back to his question, if an application, we can always do peer review and hire our own engineer or hire our peer reviewer for an application. But excuse me, if we went to you and we had a subdivision that had a pretty complicated stormwater runoff system, would you be capable to analyze that correctly to advise the board whether that system is sufficient for that type of subdivision, or would that be something that we would have to get another engineer to do?
It would depend on the application.
Okay.
Based on your standards, I think we can definitely provide guidance if we meet those standards.
Mm-hmm.
If certain specific elements were too complicated for us planners compared to civil engineers, then we would recommend that you seek third-party peer review. But a lot of the times we can at least say whether they're meeting the standards or not. We just didn't go to technical engineering school and we don't have AutoCAD skills.
I'm not putting you on the spot.
Sometimes it's like we're not attorneys, we're not engineers.
Right.
But we can tell you if a project meets standards.
And what about on the environmental end of the spectrum, when we have applications that have to get DEP Tier 1, Tier 2, or Tier 3 approval? Are you capable to check that the applicant has provided sufficient information to DEP to get those approvals? Do you follow what I'm saying?
Yes,
Yeah, because the law is changing in a couple months, right?
there's a lot of changes.
March 25th.
But typically applicants get their approvals and submit applications to DEP, who then review and approve them. We could provide you with summaries of those applications, but we can't like make sure that they get approved.
I'm not saying make
And
sure,
we-
but check.
Yeah.
Maybe check those.
We can check them as we're able to, but we really usually let the state
Yep.
do their review process. But if there are like super, obvious red flags, we would point those out.
Okay. And I stress that any subdivision review will be paid by the applicant. So that wouldn't, the town isn't responsible for that.
So
and-
we would have the person pay us the money, we would get an estimate first.
Yep.
Based on our ordinance.
Yep.
That person, the applicant would pay us the money. Southern Maine Regional Planning would be working for us. We would pay them out of that escrow money that we have already collected.
Yep. Any questions?
No.
Craig?
Nope. I'm good.
How soon do you think a turnaround, if Patty sent you an email, she had time to draft one up and sent it to you tomorrow, as far as some pricing on some things?
I thought they had sent us
We had it,
something.
we had it. I can't find it. That's what I've been
I
digging through my
couldn't find it.
paperwork
We
for.
can give it to you.
I had it.
You can generally turn around a scope in a week or two.
I had it in my paperwork. I couldn't find it.
We gave it to you a couple meetings ago
Yes.
when they gave it to us.
Well, that's what I was back here a couple
But
times.
Patty and
I know,
I are
that's-
in
that's-
touch regularly now, so
Good.
we're happy to keep communicating with her, and we will work with you guys.
I'll find out.
And your offices are in Saco now, not in Springvale?
Correct.
Okay.
Saco. I'm all set.
Patty, do you have any additional questions for them at the time?
No.
Okay.
I mean, someday maybe the Gorham Spur will be built, but I think we get time to do some comp plans, some other stuff before that actually gets built.
Yeah, and
need to
maybe
do something.
in your vein, we could get, maybe a rough estimate on what it would cost to do a comp plan. Obviously, we're not gonna hold you to it, but if.
No, it's for planning purposes,
Yeah, but
budgeting
if we're gonna
purposes.
do something like that, we need to get the money down the chain and
Budget season.
drop the bomb and then see how it goes. Down,
We'd be happy to discuss.
kick the can down the road, so.
Understand.
Okay. I mean, I was on 2 comprehensive plan committees, and we met for 2.5 years, and we did not get very far. It's not an easy task to do unless you have a professional like you guys that are leading and have experience doing it, so. Okay, thank you very much for coming in, appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you very much.
We'll be in touch. Next on the agenda, Paul Kimball, request for a zone district line on 14 Old Orchard Road. Is Mr. Kimball here? I don't see him. Okay. Request for a zoning amendment regarding medical marijuana Sunday hours. Would anybody like to speak about that?
Yeah, that's.
Yep, that's you.
Good evening, America Risky.
Yep.
This says Sunday hours, but I'm kind of aiming to get all of my hours changed. I own Hidden Greens. I think you guys know that because you approved my application
Yep.
in May. The hours that you guys have set are from before the town wouldn't even allow stores. It was back when we did caregiver patient meetups.
Yep.
So as of now, they don't really pertain to operating a business. I can only be open from 10 to 8 Monday through Saturday. Whereas I sent Patty an email, like all the other surrounding towns are like 8 to 10 Monday through Sunday. And I don't think I'm asking for anything like extraordinary. I'm just asking for like regular business hours to operate my business.
So
I
your
live in
hours,
town. I have
your hours now are what?
10 to 8 p.m. Monday through Saturday.
10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Saturday. I'm sorry, I just want to make sure.
Yep.
And then no Sunday, correct?
Yeah.
And you're asking for 8 to 8?
I mean, I'd love to get 8 to 9 approved, but however, I mean, if I get 8 to 8, Monday through Sunday, I'm gonna be happy.
Okay. And including Sunday.
Yep.
So to do Sundays, we need an ordinance change.
To change the hours, we need to do an ordinance change, don't we?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
And you just, you weren't aware that Sundays weren't allowed when you came?
No, I absolutely was.
Oh.
However, I mean, I wanted the license to operate the business, and now that I've been operating since April, I look at what I lose not being able to be open during those hours. And at this point, I just think it's unfair because like Skips can be open, I mean, at whatever hours they want. The gas station, Noria, can be open from 8 to 10. Abishan, I mean, I don't know what their hours, but Hannaford, 8 to, I think, 10 also. And I want to just be able to operate my business like every other business in town.
Well, unfortunately, the state, I don't know if the state has dealt with it, but your business is a little bit different from,
It's not a state requirement.
Oh, it's
Those
not.
hours are not a state requirement.
okay, but in the ordinance it is.
Right.
Okay. So it's something we would have to change the ordinance and would have to either be voted at secret ballot, at town meeting, or on the floor at town meeting. Is that something we're gonna get put on this go around?
It's a real simple draft. If you guys
All right.
want to do
How
it,
does-
we're in
how
that
does-
process now.
How does the board feel?
We should probably look at changing it.
Because I agree with what he's saying is Skips, Naria,
Right, every other business in town can operate on Sundays,
much.
well, except for mine.
why, do you know why when the ordinance was written, we had the hours like that?
When that ordinance was written.
This was 7 years ago. This was before.
More than 7, more
Okay.
than that.
Yeah,
This has been on
it
the
was,
books.
it was so far back when that, I mean, people didn't know what we were gonna see with
Right,
cannabis.
right,
And now
right.
that it's just,
Okay.
it's, again, it's a real business and, yeah.
Okay, how about 8 to 8?
Monday through Sunday.
Monday through Sunday. Is that,
I actually was fine with what he initially said, 8 to 9, but if you want to do 8 to 8,
I could do 8 to 9. Is there that much, I don't know your business, that much traffic that comes in between 8 and 9 o'clock?
So
Saturday night, I'm sure, yes.
yes, so the thing for me as a business operator is
Right.
I'm not looking at a Monday or Tuesday. I'm looking at like 365 days a year.
Yep.
This industry is like, it's so tough right now.
Oh,
You
I
have
can
too
imagine.
many people in it. You
Yeah.
have too many of the wrong people in it.
Yep.
And it's really, really, so like every extra hour that I can be open, if I can get an extra $50 to $100 in sales in just that hour, it's worth it for me. Just as a business owner, I have 15 employees. I pay their health insurance. It's just, I'm trying to keep this business running
Yep.
so that I can have it for as long as it's possible.
And you pay taxes to the town of Buxton?
Yep.
Yep. Okay. I'm okay, 9 to 9, Monday through Sunday. Scott?
8 to 9.
8 to 9.
8 to 9, excuse me. 8 to 9.
I like the 9 to 9 better.
You like to
Especially,
go-
especially for Sunday.
You like to go early. You
Go
like to
early.
make it big.
Yeah.
I'll give you guys all special hours.
No, you can't do that.
It's up to me, they wouldn't be in town at all, so
Me too, but that's,
something, the state, anyway.
what is
Yeah.
your feeling?
I mean,
Okay?
Yeah. I'm okay with 8 to 9.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you
So we'd have to get
add that
that-
to the list? So just to double check, 8 to 9, Monday through Sunday.
Yeah.
so I just got one question. Or
Yes. Yep.
a response anyways, but, so you understand though that it's not, basically, it's not us.
How we
It
feel.
still has to go to a town vote
Yep.
to change the
Yeah.
ordinance, right, okay.
No, I at least want to get to that point without
Yeah.
having to like draft the ordinance myself and submitting it to signatures.
Yep.
And then it wouldn't happen until June.
Exactly.
Right.
Okay.
And like Keith said, it's either going to be secret ballot, where you come to the voting booth, or at the floor of town meeting in this room.
Yep.
Or whatever room they decide to put
it'll
it.
most likely be at the annual meeting on the floor.
Yes, sometime in the middle of June. Well,
The second weekend,
we have it,
June 14th again?
yeah,
June 14th.
something like that,
Okay.
Saturday.
Okay? You all set?
Much, I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Okay, approval of minutes for January 13th.
We want to do the CEO report?
Oh, shoot, I'm sorry.
This will be easy. I don't have one.
But you don't, see, I knew.
All right, good.
I knew.
Approval of
She
minutes.
She winked at me and told me there's no CEO report.
Oh, can I ask about the trash can issue? Did that get,
The what?
Greg was gonna go and pick them up.
there's a couple trash cans being used that businesses are using them that shouldn't be using them
Oh,
on 202.
oh, okay.
It was a house before I got it.
Yes.
I wasn't
Yes.
saying anything.
The can got dropped off there, and a person would not know they can't use it
All right.
until we come along and tell them so.
Okay. Are we ready for approval of minutes for January 13th?
Yeah. Mr. Chairman, I'd make a motion to approve the minutes for January 13th, 2025 as written.
Discussion? All those in favor? 4 with 1 absent. Approval of bills. Mr. Treasurer.
Yeah, I have one bill. For the public hearing that we had tonight for, that's gone up, $48.15. I'll make a motion to pay that.
Second.
Motion by Scott, a second by Craig to pay Portland Bus Hill $48.15. Discussion, all those in favor? 4 with 1 absent. Communications, I do not have any communications in my folder whatsoever today. Other business, MNA webinar for Freedom of Information Act, $40 webinar for 3/4/2025, 4 to 6 p.m. So I assume we're going to have that here on the screen. Okay, so put it on your calendar. The Freedom Access Act on March 4th from 4 to 6. That'll save us, everybody paying $40. Plus, I think there's some other board members and other
It'll
boards.
save the town from paying $40 for each of us.
Yes, and other boards and board members can attend too. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I have one other business.
Yep.
Do you want to read the findings of facts for the church that we did tonight?
Do we want to approve them?
Yeah.
Are they ready to be approved?
They were printed.
Is there any changes? We have to add some stuff.
There had to be something added?
Yes. Conditions, but everything in there that you're adopting the findings.
Yep.
We're gonna add the conditions and for Jerry to come in and sign after.
Yes.
the
Which
edit.
conditions were those?
The ones we voted on tonight.
Yeah, I thought they were already in there.
The no parking on.
That's
lot
on
plans.
there.
Yeah,
the
that was number
signs weren't
5.
in there.
Yeah.
We have to add the signs.
And the signs.
Okay. Thank
But
you.
we still should vote on the findings, so we don't have to wait.
Yep.
till the next meeting.
I can come in on Wednesday and sign it.
Yep.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
Yeah, I see, I'll make a motion to accept the findings of facts for Church of Intercession International Church along Plains Road.
From a second.
Second.
Motion by Scott and second by Craig to accept the findings of fact for the.
With the amendments that Patty needs to make.
With the additional amendments. That's for the Intercession International Church, 1301 Long Plains Road, tax map 6, lot 46. Discussion, all those in favor? Before with 1 absent. Okay, attendees may address the board. Cliff, did you have a question, or? I forgot to let you speak when she was up there.
Well, what happened was, on one of their cuts up there, they showed the comp plan of Berwick or South Berwick.
Yep.
My question was gonna be, did they do that, and how much did it cost?
Okay. Well, we can look into that.
They're gonna give us a price to do ours.
Yes.
And it could be different from theirs because ours is 20 years old.
Yeah.
It might take a
But
little.
theirs is a much higher. sewer and water, but, yeah.
Yeah.
Any other additional comments from the general public? Okay, Chair will entertain a motion to adjourn at 8:10. Am I forgetting anything?
We can do we need to do anything with the?
Oh,
proposed
ordinance.
ordinances?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Go into workshop for that, right?
Yes. I'll make a motion that we adjourn to a workshop for zoning changes at 8:10 PM. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion by myself, second by Craig, to adjourn to a workshop for zoning changes. As I've said before, these are just preliminary changes, and once we've gone through these, they'll be posted on the websites, and they'll be voted either at secret ballot or the floor town meeting. Good evening.